Hello, I'm Robert, and welcome to my watercolor sessions. Today we're going to paint another one of our fun paintings. It'll be uh, out in the east. You know, this is the time when we have the COVID virus and we can't do too much traveling, but you can travel yourself and your mind and give yourself some therapy doing it. You know, we can relax and build our own world, and it can be happy, it can be enjoyable. So today we're going to go out on the East Coast. We're going to paint one of these wonderful headlight houses in Portland, Maine, where I used to live. Um, Today we have a guest painter with us. Every once in a while we're going to introduce a guest painter that'll join us. Today we have somebody that has lots of stress, and he's kind of doing this to get a little bit of therapy and do a little bit of relaxation. So if you could welcome our president, Mr. Donald Trump. So he's going to try a little bit of this with us. He's going to do this relaxing painting to take away some of the stress of the office. So welcome. And with that ado, we'll take him down. I'll come down myself here, and then we'll begin. This is roughly the painting that we're going to do today. It'll be slightly different because our headlight house is a little bit different than what's set up here. But we'll have these nice colors here, the foliage in the side here. We're going to have the evergreens. We're going to have a rock path going up. We'll have our seagulls in there, and our good old lighthouse. These are the paints that we're going to use today, and the equipment. We're going to use the paints will be Payne's Gray. We're going to have a raw sienna. We're going to have a cooker's green. We're going to use phthalo blue in the sky, cad orange on the roofs, and a little bit of cad red in there. We might put a little bit of white splatter in there too. That would be either a Chinese white or an acrylic white. So we're going to do that too, possibly. Put our birds in, put our rocks in, and our nice lighthouse. So we'll take this off. Here's our light sketch that I have made up for today's painting. I've taken, we could use some masking fluid, which I put a little masking fluid here. That protects the whites. But I put, instead of using a lot of masking fluid, I just put some contact tape on here. So masking tape, just mask in the tower a little bit, the lighthouse, just so we protect the whites. Sometimes we don't have to do it, but today we're going to probably go over it with some color, and it's good that we have it protected. So we seal down the ends so we get some nice tight straight lines, and that allows us to put in our sky. So with that, the first thing we do with watercolors, we get the sky nice and wet. I wouldn't say we're going to get it too wet in this case, but we'll get some water going in here. This will make our colors flow nice and drift into each other. Now, because I have the tape on it, I can just go over with the water and don't have to worry about outlining it. So I'm trying to give it a little bit of time. I'm not going to do the house section because I don't want the sky to drift down in it. I'll put a little bit of water in the foreground because we can put our first value of color in the foreground. It'll probably be some raw sienna. It's a light brownish color. We've got our ocean on the side here. They'll show through. And again, we're kind of giving it a little bit of time to soak into the paper. Okay. Well, now we can decide on which brush we wish to use. And I think I'll start with this. This is going to be a number 12 brush. On the paper, I think you could put number 8, number 9, number 10. This is a round brush. And I'm just going to put our first coat of phthalo blue across the sky. That's a very, very pretty color. I think before I go much further, I want to put in some yellows. This is cad yellow up here. I have the same colors below, but I'm just going to put a little bit of light. I'm just going to add a little bit of light here. And I think I'll use that same nice color just to start to suggest which will be our field, our little bit of a hill type pattern. So I'll get the first values across that hill. I'm just putting a little bit of Hooker's green in here just to suggest another value in it. This is the lay of the land going down a nice hill. I used to live in Portland, Maine for about 3 years, and it was just, the head lighthouse was only about 10 miles from the home, so most weekends I'd go there. There was a nice diner that I used to go to. It's called Becky's Diner. It was right on the water. And you could go there and you might see some celebrities. You might see, if it's campaign time, you might see George Bush over there, or Clinton when I was there at that time, Clinton or others. But just a little, just for interest, I've added a little bit of violet. I have to be careful because if I come on down here with blue, that would turn our sky green. We don't want that. In this case, we don't want it. There might be a case where we want green. But now we just have a nice soft sky. Nice pastel sky. I'll probably want the corners a little bit stronger, a little bit darker. So I add a little bit of dark, because that'll draw your eye down into this painting. So we'll get this nice dark. Okay, now that we've sealed that portion up, and we're going to probably have to reinforce it. We will reinforce it with other values coming up once it starts drying. But right now, we're in pretty good shape. So I'm just going to dab up a little bit of colors. And while we're waiting for that to dry up a little bit more, I'm going to come in here and start building. I'm going to start building my roofs. So I want a nice orange. This is cad orange. This will be nice and bright. I don't want any globs in this paintbrush, so I have to be careful that I don't get any globs in it. I want the color to be filled up the brush nice and full. So now I come up here and I'll start the roof. I'm starting very dark with that, and then I take a little bit of clear water and I pull the color down. And that means that'll give me another value in here. We'll get more of our color, and we'll build this next roof right here. Again, starting darkest value on top and just coming down, and it'll get a little bit lighter as we come down. Now we have another roof over on this side, so I want that to be a little bit different, so it'll stand out. So I'm going to put this, I've added a little bit of cad red to it. So this roof has some cad red to it. And then this side of the roof here, I'll make this a cad red one too. These colors, as you know with watercolor, they dry lighter. So it looks a little bit strong now, but we'll have to come back and build. Now I have my picture up here, so this is a little bit of a guide for me. So once again, I'm going to get another value with my orange. I have a nice roof pattern over here, so I'll come in here. I'll build that roof. And then I think I'm going to do with this color that I have on here, I'm just going to reinforce these other ones here. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with my liner brush, and I'm going to start to build some evergreen trees here. So I start out with my nice little liner rigger brush, and I just give myself a guide. I don't want them to be straight. And then I'll come back, I'll start building with some greens. I want to build some foliage. We'll reinforce these with more stronger values, but we'll just start building. Okay, I'm using almost zigzag motions or Z little strokes. I'm just going back and forth. Come on this side. And we'll keep on going. Build this one. Build this tree on the left. Maybe we'll put one more. Maybe this one, it's got a little kink in it. Maybe it had one of those strong, very nasty Portland winters. Maybe somebody stepped on it when it was growing up. So we have that going on there. I'm going to come back and start reinforcing some of these roofs, point them down. I'm going dark to light as it gets further on down. Then I'm going to take a flat brush, damp brush, and I'm just going to pull some of this color down. Which is the buildings, the house. We're going to put some details on this painting in a bit, but we want to give it some time just to soak in. And I might just take a little tissue and lift up some of the values in here, lift up some of the colors. Okay. Here we go. All right. We'll come up here with a little bit of our, I don't think this is the violet. I think we'll go up into a little bit more of our darks over here. A little bit of brown with the violet. And we'll just start putting in our chimneys. First values. Since I have that color, I'm going to reinforce a little bit more of these tree areas. This is the archway. Here's a window that's going to be, we'll start this. Another window here. We got a couple up here. So just this, these are our first values on those windows. Okay. We're going to have some fence posts over here. reinforce the roof again. Then we're going to take our greens with a little bit of blue and mixing that down here. And I'm going to suggest a rock pattern here. So I take some half circles, then I take some clear water, and I'm just going to pull that color back to soften it. So I take some darker shapes, clean the brush out, get it damp with a little bit of water, and just pull it back. We'll come up here, take a little bit of Payne's Gray, again take some clear water. I'm just going to pull that out. This will make our rock pattern. When I was in Maine, we used to, this kind of fun, we used to climb up the rocks to get to the lighthouse. Or just play, go down. Make another C, it's like a C pattern. And then take some clear water and pull it back. Pull it right out. Okay. We'll add a little bit of a dirt pattern underneath our lighthouse. Put some raw sienna, and then I'm going to soften that out too. With clear water. I'm going to take my liner brush and start to suggest little fence here. This side. And then we'll go across to make the rails. Okay, we'll come up here, grab a little more Payne's Gray, and reinforce that arch. And we'll hit the windows too. Keep going, build the windows on this side. We're going to have some weeds that come up here too. So this will be our first indication of some weed patterns built on the rocks. A nice shadow on this side. And build some more values on our trees, our evergreens. Strengthen our roof. Maine is a wonderful place to visit. I used to live in New Gloucester, Maine, and I traveled throughout Maine as a district financial manager. Go up in Arcadia Park, and you get up at 4 or 5 in the morning, get a blanket, go to the park, and you can watch the sun come up over America. Of course, the sun comes up on that side. So you go to the park, and you'll get lots of people, just laying out there on a blanket, waiting for the sun to come out. A lot of photographers, a lot of artists, just observing, absorbing, enjoying the nice scenery, and the pictures are fantastic. Outside of Arcadia too, they have kind of a little mountain hill area, and you can walk up and down the hill, and if it's the right time of year, of course, the blueberries are out. So you start running into blueberry patches along the way. So you start hiking up the mountains, and you're kind of like Winnie the Pooh with honey. You run into a blueberry field, and you stop, sit down and just enjoy some of the sweetest blueberries you can imagine. And like I said, if it's really early morning, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you watch the sun set. And then in my case, I'd have to go out to work, so that would be a deterrent. But at least I'd get to see the sun come up. Now, I usually wasn't there on the weekend because I lived about 2.5 hours down the road, so I usually wouldn't go up there on the weekend. I'd hang around downtown Portland, Maine, and enjoy Becky's Diner. As I think I mentioned, that Longfellow used to climb up these rocks from the city of downtown Portland and visit the head lighthouse keeper. They'd have breakfast together. And all the politicians would be there. This would be the time of year that they'd be there campaigning, getting their pictures taken and photographs and put up at the diner. Okay, we'll add a little bit of ocean waves to here. You know, as I said, when you come out here and you sit out here and enjoy your breakfast, of course, at Becky's, and come down and visit the lighthouse, you look out over the ocean, you think about, you know, the turn of the century or way back when America was being founded, and you look over the ocean where the tower is, and you think, wow, here's where the British soldiers would have come in. And I think they even had documentation that the Mayflower passed by that area. They might even stopped over in downtown Portland, Maine. Keep building. We want this to remain, you know, a watercolor. So don't want to tell everything that's happening with this painting. We want to give some of the viewer's imagination to fill in the details. So let's take our tape off here. So we can start putting a little bit of values into the lighthouse. See how nicely that protected our whites. So what we'd want to do here, and you can kind of decide the color that you want across the lighthouse, but we'll take, say in this case, I'll take a little bit of my Payne's gray, a little bit of blue. Oops, And I'm just going to put a color on the side here. And then I take some clear water and I pull it across, soften it. Then I've got that nice soft value across it. I'm going to get some clearer water, pull it out. So I have a little bit of a hard edge to the left here. And the softer one to the right, or on this side here. I come on the top. Put a little ball up top. This middle section is dark, right here. Start the indication of some windows, so that little lighthouse keeper can look out. Then we'll take our nice liner brush and come up here. And we take our liner brush and start building the rails. That gives our innkeeper something to guide him with. So he doesn't fall out. Okay. We'll add a little bit more value of greens down here in our field. follow the lay of the land here. Putting water with a tint of green in it to, since this is all dry, it kind of softens the area. We'll keep on building our little more definition on our windows and our chimney. Another green value. Flowing down our little bit of mountain. We'll reinforce our stones. Take a little bit more of my Payne's Gray. I'm putting this dark value across it. And we'll add a little bit of a suggestion that there's cracks in here. I'll take my very thin liner brush, just add some cracks in these rocks. And I'm going to, at that suggestion too, I'm going to put a few cracks across our lighthouse. Because those are pretty old. You know, lighthouses can be very old. You know, of course they paint them, but they still have some nice novel cracks in them. We'll keep on reinforcing our top here. some more lines to our building. And come back with our trees. Give some nice stronger values to them. Take our liner brush and build our gate fence across here. Build some more weeds coming up. And we'll keep on strengthening a couple of the areas. Add a little bit of dry weed patterns, flower patterns in here. We'll give this little guy some rails that he could climb up here a little bit. We'll add our little birds in the sky, our seagulls, which is always wonderful to sit out here, as I said, and just hear them squawking and searching for some fish or some weeds for their dinner. It's a wonderful sound of the ocean, birds. Shame we can't travel right now with the virus that's going around. But maybe it'll be over soon. Put a couple weeds over here. just suggest a couple little things here. A few weeds licked out here with your nice liner brush. Strengthen the top of this roof. Stronger value. And again, pull down with water so it softens it. And we'll take the water to soften that part. Drag it down. We'll put little antennas on this side too. I'm going to grab a little bit of our titanium white or acrylic white and just touch these seagulls a little bit just to give them another value in here. Strengthen some of the areas. We'll take a little bit of our yellows up here top in our lighthouse. Throw in a little bit of the reds. A little more yellow to soften it. A little more water, I'm sorry. A little more water to soften that top part. And I'll take one more run tops. Our roof. Just give it a stronger shape. Reinforce that window, our door archway here. This is our archway, so we'll reinforce that a little bit. Okay. We got our evergreens here, and they got lots of friends. Put those scraggly loose weeds here. Little dark value to give it a little more punch. Okay. Add one more big rock down here. Darken this shadow side. And I think we'll just at this point, before we overdo anything, I think I'm just going to sign this one. Let's take our tape off here. And I'm going to come down and put this mat so you can see what it looks like. Okay, there you have it. I'm Robert. I want to thank you for for attending this class. Look for more online. We're also going to have, I've made some children's storybooks that are going to be on that line pretty soon. So look for that. And once again, have a great day. Enjoy this lighthouse painting. I hope you'll try it, and hope to see you soon.